I'll rewind it. It's ready to go again. With
I have got it all packaged up. First of all, it is my very special privilege to welcome each one of you tonight. Appreciate that you would take an opportunity out of your particular busy schedule at this time of the year when you grab every opportunity you can to do your shopping or the baking or the other things that you have to do and to be here for this meeting tonight. And I'm sure that our honored guest will be just as appreciative of your presence.
I hope so.
Now let me suggest to you that we tonight are here as friends and associates of Hugh Wills to express our good wishes and our affection for him. Hugh has just completed 27 years and 3 months of service to credit unions with the Virginia Credit Union League.
Super.
That's a lot. Hugh has earned our heartfelt admiration and respect. This evening is dedicated to a friend who's launching a new and a well-earned career, his new career of retirement. But first, I would remind you that we have some special guests among our group tonight, and I'll not ask that they stand, but so that Hugh and his family knows that we have some very special people who've come some distance to be with us tonight, and some who are local. I would like to, at this point in time, if you will, Hugh, you look around, and I'll not ask that they stand, but I'll ask that they wave their hands so that you'll know where they are. And if he hasn't already, I'm sure he's going to find Kitty Croaks. Kitty herself has recently retired from what I call chapstick, and I'm not sure what it's called now, Kitty. Merchandising company. And most of us here remember it as chapstick.
Never heard of it.
She served so, that's true, Carl. She served so long on the credit committee of League Central and still serves as an alternate credit committee member. And Kitty has earned the love and respect of more members of the credit union movement in Virginia than she could ever hope to count herself. And we have Odie Snow with us tonight, and I'll be introducing him later. But Odie, if Hugh hasn't seen you, will you let him know that you're present? And then a very special guest we have also is Jenny Keeling, Virginia Keeling, wife of our former managing director, Garland. And I guess Kitty is probably one of those people who carried League Central around in a pocketbook for a while as it got started. But she was back when League Central and the League both got started really in their true operational status. Then we have our recently retired employee and special love to all of us, Shirley Chenault. And with her, she brought Bob. That was nice. Shirley and Bob are back here. Bob, too, is retired. Neil Tanner come over from Salem. Neil's, there he is back in the back there. And we have Garland and Shirley Huffman from up at the Foundry. Here he is back over here, Garland, Shirley. And Herman and Dolly Sadler from way up in the mountains. They came down because it was snowing. And we're happy to have them. Bernard Callahan is here, former league director from the Lynchburg area. Christy Eugene, up from Norfolk, way in the back here, the chairman of our league board. He'll be introduced later. And Harvey Nash is also from the fire department in Norfolk, came up with Christy. Just to be special tonight for you. John Slusher with CUNA Mutual. You can't miss him. You can hit him with mashed potatoes from where you're standing. Dale Webster, also from the Foundry, but he happens to be a very important part of the program, he being the president of Virginia League Central Credit Union. Bill and Charlotte Osborne. I don't think, is Charlotte, I didn't say hello to Charlotte. Hey, there's my Piedmont friend. Yeah, I didn't see you earlier, Charlotte. It's good to see you. Saw Bill's white hair and I didn't see you. Billy used to be an employee with League Central. He's now over at Limitorp, but for years he was down there trying to keep the books and collect the accounts of League Central as well. Kelly and Barbara Kurtz. back here in the back, Kelly happens to be a Dallas fan, but I don't hold that against him. Kelly is, in fact, he reminds me of a time at Lake Central. I'll never forget when they were on the bookkeeping machine and Kelly was trying to spit out the trial balance on the bookkeeping machine. And after they got really advanced, they put all the cards together in a big stack and they just fed it automatically. And Kelly went for coffee, and when he come back, all the cards were laying all over the table. He had a few choice words to say. I think they took him out of the church for about 6 months following that. But I'll never forget Kelly doing that. And he today serves on the credit committee and still serves the credit union in that way. And then we have Bob and Mary Green. And Bob's on the league board, and Mary is with him, and Mary's a past chapter president, I think, of Lynchburg chapter. And I think this is her home as well. And so Mary is back at home tonight, and we all kind of grew up with Hugh, and so these people are very special to him, I'm sure. Then we have Carlton and Bessie Weber. Carlton, the former league director, now retired, and playing golf in Florida when it's cold up here. And you can tell by the suntan that he's just recently returned from Florida. Would that I could, but I can't. Are there others that I've skipped? I know that there's some employees and their spouses here, but are there other special people that I should have mentioned and didn't? Don't let me get off without saying hello to you. Well, these are very special people, but we have some extra special people as well. We have Hugh's family with us tonight. Ed Wills and his bride, Becky, sitting right here at the table. Let's hear that for Becky. Betty Eubank and her husband, Ronnie, sitting right here on the corner. We're happy to have them with us tonight. And Jeannie, his other daughter, has traveled all the way from Big D, I think it's Big D, wasn't it? Just to be present on this very special occasion. That's a long way from Dallas. Honey, we're glad to have you home. We're glad to have these special people with us tonight. And then, too, to each one of you, you're very special, too. And we're very happy that all of you were able to come with us tonight. And now, it's my privilege to introduce our very special guest of honor for the evening, Mr. Hugh Edwin Wills with his wife, Margaret. And I would like to ask if they would to join me on my right on the dais. Now, I think a number of you know, but just in case you don't, Margaret was very pleased to be released from the hospital where she'd been put in to recover from an illness, and we are very fortunate that she was able to be with us tonight. And so, Miss Margaret, we love you. We're very happy to have you with us to share this very special occasion. And Hugh's going to need your strength before this evening's out. Now, I want to say too, folks, be careful with the face you put on, because while Stuppy is taking pictures and you have nothing to worry about, there's a little film in the camera, if none at all. There is some videotaping going on over here in the corner of the program tonight, so that Hugh will have a memory of this, and that'll be presented to you for later when the snow's on the ground. You can sit around and watch it on the videotape. And at this point, lest I forget, I think there are a number of people who we should thank for having helped with the preparations for tonight, and I'm not going to mention them. It's not their night, it's not my night, it's his night, his and Margaret's, and so we're going to see that it's their night, and we do appreciate all the work that the others of you have done to make this evening hopefully a pleasant success for him. I would remind you that December the 7th has long been recognized as an infamous and a dastardly day in the life of our nation. What cruel fate or magnificent opportunity has brought us together on this December 7th? Surely we cannot expect some kind of a sneak attack. There should be no misleading testimony. No betrayals, not tonight. Surely not. For tonight, we bring honor and dignity, sincerity, to an occasion of tribute and praise. There's a Chinese proverb that I was told of that says, wherever an uncle kisses his nephew for the first time, there shall he receive a very special attainment. Now, for instance, if he should kiss his nephew on the forehead, he will become a great thinker. Should he kiss him on the throat, he might become a great singer. And we have no way of knowing where Hugh's uncle might have kissed him first. But we have always acknowledged his bottom line attention to discipline. Now, to do honor to Hugh, on our behalf this evening, I would like to introduce the following associates. And as I call their name, I would ask them to join with me, with Hugh and with Margaret on the dais at one of these seats. Mr. R.L. Green, Jr. You'll get your chance. You'll get your chance. Mr. O.T. Snow, Jr. Mr. Christy Eugene. Mr. Herman Sadler. Turn the lights down. Mr. E.H. Farley, Jr. Miss Patricia Stuffy. Mr. Philip Chenault. And Mr. Dale Webster. Now, somebody has asked me why I had the audacity to wear a tux tonight, and I would suggest to you that my wife suggested the tux. She said when she saw the list of people who would be on the dais with me tonight, remember there are 4 league directors and a league president. If you screw up tonight, they're just going to put you in a box and carry you away. So I dressed for the occasion. Now, each of these people are going to have a thing or two to say for Hugh, and I want you to hear that. But before I begin, before I introduce the first speaker, I want you to know that a number of Hugh's friends from all over every place had written to Hugh and sent it to me that I might convey to him their good wishes on his retirement. And with their permission, and not his, I intend to let you know a few of the kind of comments that they had to make to Hugh. Remember, these are letters directed to him, but with their permission, I can, in fact, disclose the contents to you. As an example, one of the letters I have here, it's addressed to Mr. Hugh Wills, Virginia Credit Union League. See, he addressed us as League Central, so they're going to address him as a league. And it gives him a great deal of pleasure and all that. You've heard all that stuff before. And so I just want to paraphrase from it. It says, I know that some people say you're retiring because you're out of gas. I know that can't be true because you're full of it. It says, I know how compassionate you are. Because I remember the evening when a little boy was crying in the lobby of a hotel where we were having our meeting. And you asked him why he was crying. And he said, because I can't do what the bigger boys are doing. Whereupon you sat down and started crying with him. We have some others, and I'll be reading them from time to time as we proceed with the program. And there are a couple of choice things you'd like to hear. But first, to lead off our team of speakers, I'm very personally proud and privileged to introduce a friend, director, one of our bosses, R.L. Green, Bob Green, Jr. He's a former league employee, as I said, and currently serving as a credit union manager in the Richmond, Virginia area. Bob, having spent a number of, see, you messed me up when you turned this thing around. Bob, having spent a number of years changing light bulbs in the league office under Hugh's direction and supervision, he is eminently qualified for something. Here's Bob.
Thank you, credentials, I'm surprised I'm not the MC tonight. Well, need glasses too. Some years ago, soon be 24 years, I started working with the Virginia Credit Union League. The first week they had me working with a fellow by the name of Farley. Gene Farley. And after I learned everything I could from him, then they sent me up to Waynesboro to work with the other field representative, and his name was Hugh Wills. That was an interesting 2 or 3 days that I spent with Hugh. He wouldn't let me stay any longer, because I was from down east, don't you see. But it was interesting because we were working in a credit union that had grown rather rapidly, and we were trying to get things straightened out. And Hugh seemed to know what he was doing, you know. But it didn't take but 5 years to get them straightened out. Anyway, he says, I've got us a room over at the General Wayne Hotel. Now, you got to remember that in those days, the General Wayne Hotel was the place in town. And we had 2 rooms. So we got over to the hotel that night, and we had dinner, and we talked about credit unions as we were supposed to do. And Hugh finally says, well, I'm going to bed. It's 7:30. He said, when you get ready for breakfast in the morning, knock on the door. So, knocked on the door the next morning about 6:30. You know, being a new employee, I wanted to impress the league staff, you know, that I was up and raring to go and all that. Hugh opened the door to the extent of the little chain on it, and he said, what the hell are you doing up this early? And I looked down, you know, in the opening, and he had on pajamas with feet in them. A little further down the way, though, things changed. Hugh only buys tops of pajamas. He said that's all he needed. He's semi-retired. While we were in Waynesboro, Hugh drove back and forth between the hotels. See, in those days, we were being paid the fabulous sum of 9 cents a mile. Okay, and being the kind of the low man on the totem pole, Hugh got the mileage. He said that since I drove all the way up from Norfolk, you know, I had enough. We needed to pass it around. And then one day I was in Lynchburg, and Hugh came over, and I happened to be looking out of the window, and there goes Hugh. It's in the summertime. Hot as blue blazes. Hugh goes riding by with his windows up. I asked him why he rode around in the summertime with his windows. He said he didn't want people to know he didn't have air conditioning in his car. Marcus, you're liable to find out some things tonight that you never have heard of before. A couple years later, Garland decided that it was time that Hugh and Gene and I got oriented to what it was we were supposed to be doing. So he sent all 3 of us to Madison, Wisconsin, the credit union capital of the world, you know, in January, don't you see? That was the most interesting trip. Started snowing Saturday morning, and out there when it snows, it really snows. So we got to the airport that afternoon. Those days it had the DC-3s, you know, that everybody had to pedal on. Said, we don't know whether the flight's going or not, it depends on the pilot. So So we asked about it. He said, hell yes, I'm going back to Chicago. He said, because I just got married the day before yesterday, and that's where my wife is. Us 3 league field representatives had no more sense than to get on that plane and go with him. You couldn't even see the wingtips, it was snowing so hard. We got into Chicago, and that's as far as we got that day. We didn't know whether we were going to get anywhere further or not. But anyway, while we were in Madison, they had all 3 of us in the same room. Hugh's running over here. And as you might expect, well, again, you know, everything worked by seniority. Hugh was the oldest staff member, and Gene was second, and I was last. So naturally, I got the cold shower because I got the shower last. Well, while I was taking a shower, see, Gene and Hugh took out my rollaway bed and moved it down the hall, someplace. So there was considerable discussion about whether or not they were going to go get my bed. And I finally convinced Hugh that that was what they ought to do. And I'll let him tell you how I convinced him later. See, I'm not going to steal it. Anyway, we found out on that trip that Hugh does get airsick. We finally got to Cincinnati and got a plane back into Roanoke and Lynchburg. And we had breakfast before we got on the plane. And Hugh, you know, he wasn't feeling as good a deal as I. They managed to get the plane on the ground in Roanoke before I lost my breakfast. But at any rate, he said that I looked very, very green when that plane took off, because I didn't get off of it. While we were in Chicago, though, we had a little time on our hands on Saturday night. So we're going out to see if we can get something to eat and find something to do. In case, for the benefit of those that didn't hear that comment, Farley said his wife is out there. Nancy, if I overlooked this at Gene's roast, I'm sorry. Anyway, in those days, this was the early part of 1961, I was the only single one of the 3 Musketeers, don't you see? So, you know, I was always getting them in trouble. Well, down the block from the hotel was this place called the 606 Club. And a very important occasion occurred there. That's where Hugh picked up his nickname of Two Brew Hugh. Is that right? Okay. You let me know if I tell it wrong. Two Brew Hugh. Well, we went into this place, and it was one of those places that had those girls that put on these shows. And after they did their little routine, they would come out in the audience and ask you, if you'd like to have some company. And the main purpose of that was to get you to buy them a champagne cocktail, which in those days cost $5 a crack. Well, one of them came up and asked me if I wanted some company. Now, bear in mind, we're sitting right at the end of the runway, where we can see good. This particular one, I didn't mind her sitting down at all. Okay. So she sat down, and she ordered this champagne cocktail. And they brought it with a glass of water. Okay. And we finally figured out why they did that. That girl could drink those things all night and never get a buzz on. Because every time she took a sip of that champagne cocktail, she drank a half glass of water. So it didn't affect her at all. So pretty soon, here comes another one. See, there's 3 of us sitting there. One of them sitting here. So they all came up, I said, Sure, sit down. So we bought her a champagne cocktail. Now bear in mind that we had time to maybe have 2 beers, okay? Pretty soon, here comes the third one, okay? She walked up and said, "Do you boys like to have some company?" Hugh says, "I gotta go." Wham! Gene says, "I'm going to find him." I got stuck with a check. We found Hugh. He was standing out in the snow, about to freeze to death by the time we got the check out there. That's how he got his nickname. There's a lot of things that I could tell you about Hugh, but I got to tell you one. His son told me this. By the way, did you know that Hugh used to really drink a lot? He did. He told me one time that, you know, he quit drinking a lot because he got tired of waking up driving his car 90 miles an hour. Anyway, Ed was telling me this story, and seems that they were in church, okay? And Hugh was sitting down there, you know, in pretty good view of the preacher. And the topic of the sermon was the 10 Commandments. And the preacher was taking them one by one. So when he reached the 4th commandment, "Thou shalt not steal," you know, all of a sudden Hugh gets agitated, move around and steal. And then when the preacher got to the 7th commandment, "Thou shalt not commit adultery," he kind of smiled and relaxed. The preacher thought that was kind of funny behavior, you know, for you. So he got him aside after church, and he said, "You know, I noticed that when I got to the 4th commandment, you got a little agitated, you know, a little worried look on your face. But when I got to the 7th commandment, 'Thou shalt not commit adultery,' you relaxed and smiled." He said, that's kind of strange. He said, "I don't understand. Can you explain that to me?" You said, "Yeah." He said, "When you got to the 4th commandment, 'Thou shalt not steal,' I remembered I lost my umbrella. And when you got to the 7th commandment, 'Thou shalt not commit adultery,' I remembered where I left it." They were talking about Hugh in hotels a while ago. We were at a meeting one time, and the hotel operator told us about this afterwards, but anyway, she gets a call about 2 o'clock in the morning from Hugh, who wants to know what time the bar opens. She told him the bar didn't open until 9 o'clock in the morning. So he said, "Okay," and hung up. About 3:30, she gets this other call. Hugh again. "What time does the bar open?" She said, "Listen, I told you the bar don't open until 9 o'clock. You get a drink when it opens at 9 o'clock. He says, "I don't want to get in the bar, I want to get out." Hugh, I'm going to quit now because some others got some kind of things for you too. But I just want to say, on a serious note, I mentioned that 24 years ago I started working with the League. And I managed to hang in there in various capacities since then. But I don't think that a man could have any better training, companionship, friendship than I had with Hugh, Gene, and Carl. We had a lot of help along the way, and the contribution that you've made in your 27 plus years, I doubt seriously that you'll ever realize how many people you've helped. I, for one, appreciate all the help, and wish you all the luck, good health, long and happy retirement. And finally, see that box over there? That's yours. Okay. Used to be, when I worked with the League, we used to run the convention booklet on the mimeograph machine. Madam used to type up those stencils very studiously. She really did a good job on those stencils. And I got to run the things, don't you see? And Hugh, every time I would leave that machine to go to the bathroom or something, he'd come in there and run something for League Central. And when I get back, all the adjustments were off of the thing. So we had more disagreements about how to run that machine than anything in this world. Recently, Bellwood Credit Union bought a building, renovated it, moved into it, and we purchased the thing from Lincoln Savings and Loan in Richmond. And when they moved out, they left some stuff. Okay? One of which was a hand crank mimeograph machine, and that's what's in that
box. Thank you, Bob. Give us just a minute to make a technical change. We're not getting Hugh's frowns and aggravation on the video, and I need someone to move this mic over, and I'll adjust this over. Did I do it?
Coordination.
Did I do it? What about my coordination?
Playing your golf game.
Yeah. He does know it too. This is addressed to Hugh Wills and also Virginia Credit Union League. It says, "Dear Hugh," big letters, "retirement," blip, 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 blip. It says how sweet that word must sound. However, this is your official notice that you may not leave your place of employment until you learn the correct method for calculating dividends using the share dollar method. You must also prove your skill by calculating without error the dividends on 5,000 individual accounts. Only then may you officially retire.
You'll never do.
And then it talks about his golden years, but in conclusion, it has a word that I would pass on to you. It says, it is tough. It is tough to have people like you, and they're addressing you, to leave the movement. For there are so few true believers remaining among our ranks. Bill Atkins. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you the next speaker for the evening, who will address you in his complimentary way. And I want to suggest to you that this next speaker is chairman of our League Central Credit Committee, has suffered considerably under the pressures applied by Hugh for minister loans alone. Or put another way, if ODT Snug has earned any points for his trip to heaven by virtue of his lending generosity for Methodist ministers, then it can be said without question that Hugh can be given credit for another Baptist being placed on his way to heaven. Odie?
Hugh, I'm gonna try to be a little nicer to you than Bob was. But I got a few remarks prepared here. But I met a Garland Huffman and Bernie Callahan just before we ate. And he said, Odie, you can't tell all those things you know very here. There's no way. How many of you ever ridden with you in the car? All I've heard from you is, Odie, I never put a scratch on you. Boy, if he could just see my insides. One of Hugh's favorite things is he always come and pick a critical window, and the hand was always on empty. Hugh would get cash. Don't worry about it. I know what you got. We'll make it. Time after time he did this. So one day, he picks me up, he picks Kitty up, and we're going to Hal Johnson's there at Madison Heights. We cross a colored glass bridge, we get up about midway the hill, and runs out of gas. Well, it's not much of a show there. Any of you remember the expressway at that point. But anyway, we get the call to the side of the road, just enough to get it out of the driving way. And he takes off to get gas. To Kitty, I know Kitty remembers that. We had our credit committee meeting in the car that Expressway. Hugh, I didn't think about this till I was on the way home this evening to change clothes. You and I have been dealing with each other in an official capacity for 17 years. You know, 17 years, and we've never really had a real serious falling out. You know, miracles never cease to happen. We did have one close encounter, and I got to relate to Bill's comments about the Methodist minister. We had credit committee meeting on Holiday Inn South one day, and Kitty was with us. And we'd done some loan applications, and all of a sudden, wow, here comes this real beaut. There's a guy who wants about $5,100. He's got a 20-year-old car for security. And I said, Hugh, there's no way. But Odie, he's a Methodist minister. Now, I don't know how many of y'all know about Hugh, but he's a very devout Methodist. He's the treasurer of his church, does a lot of work for the Methodist church. He really believes in it. He got so upset, we didn't approve the loan, that I had to drive him back to work. He couldn't drive. Later on, we did approve the loan, and we made a credit committee policy change as a result of that. Any loan application from a Methodist minister, rubber stamp it. So that's But Hugh, on a serious note, and I hate to admit this, you did teach me a couple of things. One is you did teach me the philosophy of the little man, and I hope that I haven't forgotten it after all these years. But more than anything else, I guess, is over these 17 years that we've been associated, we've become personal friends. For that, I thank you very much. Now, Kitty and I got together just before dinner, and we were concerned about your retirement and what you might do. We didn't want you to go home to sit and do nothing. So we pondered over this and said, well, maybe we can give him a little starter kit, give him something to, start him out on a new venture. And at this point, I'd like to give you that, and I appreciate if you'd open it up.
No, Margaret, he wouldn't do that to me. The last time Kitty gave me a little gift, it had a strange belly button on it.
Well, now here you've got something you can do in your retirement. I hope you're successful. I think you will be. Seriously, though, good luck to you and best of health.
Thank you, Odie. I'm sure we'll all want to share in that little cup with you. And those of us who have ridden with you share your agony and our internal discomfort. I have another letter here that was addressed to Hugh, and it's a very special letter because I know that Hugh will recall with very fond memories when he worked with this, what are we doing? Back up?
Back it up all right.
Hello there. Hello? Hello there.
Hello?
Hello, no one home? Anyway.
Sounds like a leak switch.
I'm sorry, I really don't want to get too close. But this Dear Hugh, congratulations and so forth. I will give him all these letters, by the way. But this one came in, I can't read it, I'm that close. And it says, it was about 26 years ago that we first met in the league's office. Two young men, I can't read the word, imbued with a burning desire to be our brother's keeper. You certainly lived up to that responsibility. It says, undoubtedly, your service to the many credit unions and their members should be acknowledged with this phrase, in quotes, thanks for a job well done, end of quote. And it goes on with a couple of other things and concludes, a dear friend, Hollis Barnett. Herman Sadler is also a former league employee, present league director, and manager of a credit union.
I want you to know I was discovered.
And he's willing to say that in front of God and everybody. Herman has an uncommon way of communicating his true feelings for Hugh, and I'll ask that he not do so this evening, but rather that he explain the care and feeding of the human hair, or whatever. Herman?
Before I begin tonight, I'd like for you ladies to forgive me, because there's no way I can roast this guy without getting a little off color. So, no disrespect, men, but I've got to follow through. I met this guy back in 1959. I was just a young fella at Radford Pipe, and just went in as manager treasurer. So in comes my field man at that time, and that was this guy. And he says, I'm going to teach you all that I know. It took about 2 minutes. That's the reason I'm a total failure today. Someone was telling me that once in the League Central office that a young couple came in to open up an account with you, and they just came off their honeymoon, and he knew this, and he thought it would be nice, and he said, how are you all? And the young fellow looked at him and said, sore. And Hugh went into hysterics. So after he left, Shirley told him, says, you crazy thing, they were in an automobile accident. When Hugh had his colostomy, we were very concerned about him. So after I found out that he was okay and I talked with him in the hospital, I was talking to Garland Huffman on the telephone. And Garland says, says, I'm tickled to death that he's getting along okay. He says, I'm glad they sewed that thing up. I said, well, Garland, that's not a very nice thing to say. He said, before he had this done, he said, we were on a plane in Florida. And he says, can you imagine sitting at the window seat? A guy with gastric problems. There's nowhere to go 5 miles up in the air. And he said they left a no smoking sign on all the way because they were afraid to strike a match. Not long ago, well, I guess time gets away, but it must have been 3 or 4 years ago. We went to a meeting. You're older than that. Yeah. We went to a meeting, and he and Garland Huffman and I were sharing adjoining rooms with a door in between. And I look up and hear somebody prissing around with nothing but a t-shirt on. So we had to endure looking at that. And, so I don't think Margaret should have to put up with that. It's kind of small, but it'll he'll cover up what he has. Someone was telling me also that when Ed was young, he was over at the League Central office one day, and he was trying to learn a few things about the trade union movement. I hope he has by now. Anyway, said Ed left and went home, and Hugh wondered why he went home. So when he got home that evening, he heard this sawing upstairs, and he went up and said Ed was in the bathroom. He said he was sawing the commode seat in half. He said, well, why are you doing that? And he said, well, he heard someone over there say it was a half-ass, so he was take care of it. But I have one thing to say. He has had a lot of problems, you know, no belly button, sewed up. So I think that someone told him that you couldn't trust a man without a belly button or an asshole, and I agree. Seriously, he's a dear friend, and I love him.
Oh, Sadler, you're not going to do. I also remember that morning that you talked about when you and Garland were sharing that room with you. And I asked you the next morning why your eyes were so red. You said you hadn't slept all night. I have a letter here from Charlottesville, Virginia. Very special because I think this gentleman has a little difficulty in getting any correspondence out anymore. It's addressed to you. And says, Callie joins with me in wishing you all the best. Goes on to say, as I stir my memory, I begin to wonder whether there has always been a Hugh Wills. He says, your range reached from Omi Hashbarger land in southwest Virginia to Agnes Laboda land in northern Virginia. And that's kind of inside for some of the old timers, but I can assure you that that was the breadth of the movement at one time. Because I think each of those persons would not object if I labeled them as interesting characters. He says, you and I had a discussion with Omi while we were walking on a Roanoke street, which helped her with a problem. Omi was very loyal to her credit union and her company. She was quite disturbed that our examiners brought Vector adding machines, and I think they were Monroe, right? Aggie had a less serious reaction unless the situation was threatening. Her letters to the regional office were not short, and so interesting that the secretary bringing the mail to me would comment, sorry the mail is a little bit late, it takes us about 10 minutes to read Aggie's letters. And then he concludes with another Aggie recollection. Says, when I met her husband, Sam, the Army band director, it went like this. Sam, this is the guy in Charlottesville, talking about the writer of this letter, who writes me all those letters. Punch him in the nose now. And it's signed by your friend Harold Wright. Our president of the Virginia Credit Union League is known nationally and even internationally for his intelligence and his very keen sense of awareness. Butter, butter, butter. He is also, I would remind you, a devoted father who was once overheard instructing his son Bill thusly, son, that's what he called him, son. He says, I heard you ask that man which team he likes best in the NFL. He went on to say, now my boy, you must always remember, if he's a Redskin fan, he'll tell you. And if he's not, don't embarrass him. Gene Pollard.
Well, we're gathered here this evening to pay tribute to one who has made a major contribution to the credit union movement, one whose contribution is not really limited to his own chapter or to his own state, but to the national movement as well, one who is widely known and recognized one whose stature and prominence is such that his advice and counsel is widely sought. Now, unfortunately, Jimmy Kirsch couldn't be here. And I've been asked to just make a comment or two about Hugh Wills. Now, Hugh, of course, Hugh is not without accomplishment of his own right. He holds the all-time record for jumping to conclusions. He's the only person that I know who has a 20-year service pin from Timberlake Bar and Grill. And by actual measure taken early this morning in the league office, we have determined that he has strung 24 feet more wire in the league office than Appalachian Power Company. Telephone company. I tell you, if anybody ever breaks into the league office, they're going to get the shock of their life. Hugh served in the armed forces. His military record is on file in the office, and it's inconclusive. However, the majority view seems to be that he was on our side. He began his career as a full of brush salesman, and I used to talk with him about that. He said that taught him patience, that experience did. It taught him patience. It taught him a perseverance. And I asked him once which orders he received the most, and he said, well, that's quite easy to answer. The orders I received the most were get out and stay out. He worked for Yale and Town Lock Company, as you might remember, in Roanoke. He became active in the credit union that was there. That was really his first credit union experience. I might just point out in passing that shortly after his departure, both the company and the credit union closed. In September 1956, he was employed by the League as a field man, and it was then that I met him for the first time. I was actually employed about 3 years later. And Hugh was given the responsibility for training me. And I never will forget that Hugh picked me up in his new DeSoto. Now, many of you probably don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about a DeSoto. You need to understand that nobody ever bought those, and that company went out of business. Hugh bought two. And we would ride about the state in his DeSoto, and he had prominently displayed on the front seat a slide rule, which he took into every credit union with him. And I'd been with the league, I suppose, for 3 years before I discovered that it was all right to use an adding machine. I thought everybody had to use a slide rule. Later on, Hugh assumed the responsibility for management of Virginia League Central Credit Union. And I remember in those days, our league office in League Central located over in the Fort Early Theater building. And Hugh was there now as manager of League Central, and some of the ladies in the office didn't really like the paint on the walls. And they wanted to change the color. And Hugh, of course, was always sensitive to employee needs and to employee desires. So he told them finally that it was perfectly all right if they wanted to change the color, but they'd have to pay for the crayons. Now, I think his record speaks for itself. You can look at League Central and its progress over the years. He actually took on a very small credit union, a struggling credit union, one that was in its infancy. And through his patience and perseverance, he learned as a full brush salesman. He eventually built that credit union into one of the most magnificent models of mediocrity. Hugh is now, in case you don't know, I should tell you, Hugh is now now on vacation. He's resting up for his retirement. And he's going to be on vacation until sometimes in March before he goes on retirement. And in addition to all of the nice things that I've said about him already, I want to just wish for you, Hugh and Margaret, the very best, the happiness and health for your retirement.
Thank you, Gene. How can there be a Farley's Funny Farm without Hugh Wills? I don't know. Another letter that came to me, and this one came from out in Chicago way, Hugh, addressed to you, and I want to read the whole blooming thing. It says, Dear Hugh, I've just learned that you plan to retire on March 1, 1984 from the Virginia Credit Union League, and he says, I'm sorry, that distance prevents me from attending your special evening celebrating your retirement. Your retirement is a very special feat, considering the fact that you had already retired back in 1965 when I first met you. And he says, how anyone could retire and still draw a paycheck for 19 years is still beyond me. He must have thought you were a government employee. He says, I remember how you used to try and help me by offering to sell me some of the League's Central's repossessed cars. He said we could have probably completed a deal, except you couldn't get one of the damn things to start. Says, you worried about me and my family. You taught me the importance of systematic savings. Why, he says, if it hadn't been for you, those family share accounts wouldn't be at Lake Central. Just the other day I checked, my daughter Stephanie and son Troy each have $7.39 to save. I've reached almost $15 myself. Thanks, Hugh, for teaching us how to save. By the way, Hugh, he says, even though this may not be the appropriate time to ask, how come my 7-cent dividend is being eliminated? Is that to pay for your retirement? I remember the Burroughs machine salesman threatening to jump off the railroad trestle across from the office to go to the big credit union in the sky as you, Carolyn, Shirley, and Kelly converted Lake Central to his bookkeeping machine. You'll remember how I jumped ship and left it up to Dick Williams and Charlie Harrington to put you on the computer. A man has only so much courage. I remember calling the University of Virginia Hospital and learning that your brain transplant surgery was successful. Unfortunately, your body rejected the new brain, and we were left with plain old Hugh, that fellow who has served Virginia credit unions and their members for decades. And finally, he says, you of all the credit union people I have been privileged to know, practice not for profit, not for charity, but for service. I am proud to have known you, and I consider myself fortunate to call you my friend, very sincerely, H. Allen Shiny Shoes Carter. The next speaker for us this evening comes to us straight from a long engagement at Charlie's. His wit and humor are known throughout the credit union movement, and it's been said that if he's given half a chance, he will readily prove his fame. So let's give half a chance to a real wit, Phil Chennault.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here this evening, as you have already witnessed, to commemorate upon the career of a most ignoble, noble individual. Now that last word is the only one that I must confess in my heart of hearts I know is true, individual. Because certainly there is no one who is more individualistic than Hugh Edwin Wills. Thank goodness. No one, not even Satan himself, could have placed upon this earth a burden upon us, two persons, such as this one, Hugh Edwin Wills. Amen. My burden this evening, or should I say my responsibility, and it is described in the job description as all other duties as described, is perhaps to attempt to describe this most infamous of characters that has ever left the most indelible mark upon the character of the Virginia Credit Union League, Hugh Edwin Wills? I could describe him as a Virginia gentleman with well-groomed distinction, but I won't. I could describe him as an elder statesman of the Virginia Credit Union League, but I won't. I could describe him as an innovator in credit union operations, but I won't. So, the question that plagues the minds of men this evening is, how, particularly in mixed company with women and directors here, how can one appropriately describe this enigma of society named Hugh Edwin Wills? Damn if I know. Well, I guess I could describe him as Two Brew Hugh, and I will. I could describe him as dog-faced, and I will. And I could also describe him as the man who kept Phil Hasbrook's blood flowing all these years. And amen, I will! Hugh Edwin Wills. You know, the man feels like he gets no respect. You know, he grew a beard. And since dog-face became fuzz-face, he has really solved a major problem in his neighborhood. I mean, since he grew that beard, look at it. Look at this face. Can you stand it? Look at it. Kiss it now. Oh. Ever since he grew that, at every Halloween, all the kids had their problems solved. Every Halloween, they make masks that look like him because he's so ugly and funny. I mean, one night at Halloween, here they are at home, a knock on the door. Margaret goes to the door. She opens it, sees a person with a face that looks like you-know-who. She opens it, slams it, screams, because she knows the guy at the door is going to try to sell him something. I mean, you've already heard talk about Hugh Wills as a salesman. He was very conscientious as a field rep, as we called him in those days, consultant, member service rep. Rumor has it that he tried to sell the league twice, but he couldn't find a cosigner. I mean, you know, that's Hugh, you know. Now, you've heard a lot of testimonial letters. Well, I got one just the other day. It's from Bud Trueheart, the Commissioner of Credit Unions with the Bureau of Financial Institutions, the State Corporation Commission. Now, he did not mean this to be official, but after I read it, I just had to share it with you. Dear Phil, he feels like he can get personal. Dear Phil, thank you so much for stopping by my office during your recent visit to Richmond. I was particularly pleased with the extreme good news that you delivered, that Hugh Wills is retiring. Phil, words cannot express my feelings of joy, excitement, and especially relief. Phil, need I explain to you what the last 20 years of my life have been with Hugh Wills and League Central? My job has not been easy. Now, Virginians and the State Corporation Commission by nature are quite conservative. As a state regulator, we naturally were conservative in our rulings and interpretations on how credit unions should operate. Hugh Wills, unfortunately for me, does not share that conviction. Now, Phil, I'm not saying that Hugh Wills broke any laws, but he sure as hell bent the hell out of them. Now, I must confess that many of the more liberal laws governing credit unions came into being because Hugh Wills operated League Central as though those laws were already in existence. Now, if any of these laws actually benefit state chartered credit unions, I will publicly take credit. Privately, I will ponder with amazement that Hugh Wills literally forced us to change through his actions. Yes, I will ponder with amazement and fright. Well, Phil, now that Hugh has retired, perhaps now I too can retire with the knowledge that this credit union innovator has now closed both set of books for League Central for the last time. I hope to God I never see the other set of books. The one I saw was bad enough. Sincerely, L.S. Trueheart, Supervisor of Credit Unions, Bureau of Financial Institutions. A P.S. he wouldn't dare become a private credit union consultant, would he? Oh, please, no, God, no. That was from Bud, Hugh, to you. You know, there are many little stories you've heard about Hugh Wills tonight, but there's a personal story I can remember only vaguely because, you know, when I was about 13 getting braces, and I would go to the orthodontist and come to the league office, and I would like envelopes for League Central. You know, we pay people these days to send out statements. Oh no, child slave labor right here. You know, I just have to, I got gum tongue still, you know. We would mail out statements, you know, always coinciding with the orthodontist treatment. Cheryl, I want to talk to you about that tonight, all right? But Cheryl comes home one day and she is steamed. Now, you know, Granny, Flossie, whatever you want to call her, you know, but the child is usually pretty calm. When she comes home one night and she's driven 34 miles, you know, you figure she's got time to wind down. Not this night. She comes in, slams the car door, slams the door. Hi, Mom, what do you want? Excuse me, Mom, I'm here. What happened today? Well, she had a confrontation with Hugh Wills. Now, I don't know whether you know that or not, but Hugh from time to time has been known to have a little temper, you know. Something didn't go according to the master's schedule. So he walks back into Cheryl's little cubicle and she says, now, Cheryl, we don't do things that way. Stand, damn it. And Cheryl, unbecoming her, she said, don't you stamp your foot in me, little man. You know? I mean, once in a while, those children got in a little argument. You know? Didn't she do that to you? You heard what the man said. He accused a fellow man of lying. You have heard tonight that he is a devout Methodist. How anyone who is attributed to that appellation and calling could sit there as a little man, sit there and say that to a fellow human being is beyond me. But he is, yes, a devout Methodist. He has studied the Bible relentlessly. But you know what? Ever since 11 years old, I think it's in Matthew. Cheryl, check me up on this. I don't know. It's been a while. But one of his favorite Bible verses, the one he learned in Bible school, I believe was in Matthew, and it says, I saw a man and I took him in. Now think about that. I saw a man and I took him in. That leads to me to tell you about why Hugh Wills is not worried about retirement. Because at retirement, many of us are concerned about our financial well-being, you know, our various annuities, whether they'll be sufficient or not. Well, Hugh has no such concern. Now, you've heard him called Two Brew Hugh, and you know two's the limit. That's the max, no more, nada. Well, recently I took him to my branch office at Charlie's, as Bill starts, so, you know, poor taste I told you about. I gave him his third brew, and after that, old Hugh just babbled incessantly like a brook. And he told me why he has no financial worries. For about 15 to 18 years at least, Hugh Wills was known as the junior samples of the Virginia Credit Union League. Call me BR549, I will sell you a lead car. We have turned back the odometer no more than 150,000 miles. So he was in charge of selling the league autos, you know, when they were about to be replaced. Now some of us got together and said, man, I wouldn't even want that responsibility. What a terrible job that is. Hugh, he would look very dog-faced and say, oh yes, you know, it's a really rough responsibility, but being the trooper that I am, Gene Farley asked me to do it, and I'm going to do it. Privately, he was licking his lips like a fox sitting outside a chicken house, you know. Hugh has totally financed his retirement through what we affectionately call the league auto scam. When a lead car comes in, we replace you, you get a new one, and Tyree, mine's 4 weeks overdue, but don't let that bother you. Hugh pulls out the seats and he collects any money that's found. I mean, you know, people are impressed when they buy those things. Look how clean this car is. It's clean because he has cleaned it, taken money, dimes, nickels, it doesn't matter, it spins, you know. He puts it away. You make a mistake, you got snow tires that weren't used, you put them in the trunk, Hugh sells them. Any extra tires? They're mine, I sell them. And he says, okay, he goes up and says, okay, what's the league's bottom line price? You know, they say, okay, $1,500. Hugh starts at about $2,200. You know, if he gets $1,800, $1,900, that's his commission. Never really happened to fall that. I mean, any salesman gets a commission. That's the American way, right? And all the money went to his favorite charity, the HEW retirement fund. You know? So it makes sense to me. It's gonna hurt later, I can feel it. Before my last two shots, I really could do something uncharacteristic. I can only stand it for about 22 seconds, but I'm gonna be serious. 19 and a half, you got a bet. Okay. Mark that down, Gene. I got Carlton on the string. Okay. In credit union accounting, those of us who've been involved in it, we know that the debits and credits must equal, even if you have to use a stuffy plug. But the debits and the credits must equal. Well, I'll tell you what. With all the stories I've told, I'm going to stand here tonight and propose that you, privately and professionally, I believe that your credits will definitely exceed your debits. Now, before I sit down. Oh, no. They moved. Here we go. I got two little personal gifts. Hugh Edmonds. Now. No peeking. First, Hugh, I want you to know a tremendous, enormous, personal sacrifice I am going to give to you one of my most treasured personal possessions. So that if anyone ever asked you tonight whether anything, I didn't bring my knee pads, wait a minute. Whether anything I have said here tonight, or anyone has said tonight, is true, all you have to do is take this gift, put it on, and say, damn if I know. Now, second, one of Hugh Wills' trademarks at the Congress of Central's meeting, and as Gene Farley told you earlier, he is a member of the executive board of the Congress of Central Credit Unions, which is a national association affiliated with CUNA. But I want you to know, Hugh, I'm going to give you something. I have here a fifth of Virginia gentleman. Now, Hugh, I want to keep it with you. So wherever you are, there's at least one Virginia gentleman present, okay?
Margaret may not let it be. I have another very special letter here for the next part of the program. It says to Hugh Wills, says, Dear Hugh, it says, as I understand it, you are officially retired from the Virginia Credit Union League on March 1, 1984. That's funny. It says, I thought you'd retired within the first hour of employment with the league. Says, your lovely wife, Margaret, told me that you had retired several years ago from all pleasurable fantasies after your belly button was released. It's been a privilege to have known you and worked with you over the past 18 years, it says. I'm grateful to you for those lessons of life that you taught me early in my credit union career. Remember when I wanted to be the only league field man driving a new Thunderbird? It says my monthly payment was only $20 more than I made. It says I'll never forget your advice to me about adequate collateral. Your motto was, get all you can as long as it's clean. Even when you tried to hustle my wife up to your room during a state convention, you said you wanted to inspect my loan collateral. I trusted your infinite wisdom. Seriously, Hugh, it says, in my eyes, you exemplify this great business that we're in. If the credit union moves were a black tuxedo, you'd be a pair of brown shoes. Live long, live well into retirement, Hugh. For all those things you've meant to me over the years, I can simply say, thank you, Hugh. A friend always, Dick Williams. moving right along, we have a slideshow. Where did it go? I understand you're going to handle this, Ed. Ask if you will, watch the screen, turn the screen, someone will handle the lights. Ed, through a collaboration with one of the video technicians at CUNA Mutual, produced this very interesting and very unusual portrait of our honored guest. Look closely, please. Most of you have never seen the true Hugh Wills, our friend.
Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant. I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it always the same way. My hat is off, won't you stand up and take a bow? And if you do a party, invited everyone you knew. You would see that we just went with me, and the crowd of time said, thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a If it's a car you like, I turn it to a Cadillac. Whatever you need, any time of the day or night. I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it always this way. My hat is off, won't you stand up and take a bow? And when we both get older, with walking teeth and hair of gray.
Very interesting. I hope you might get a chance to hear it through as it is. Our next speaker is Chairman of the League Board. I would suggest to you that he's of considerable depth and vision. He's quoted as having said, if you can keep your head when others all about you are losing theirs, then maybe you just don't understand the problem. With that, Mr. Eugene.
I've got a problem tonight. And the problem is, I think all these people up here have been unfair to you, Will. How many of you people agree with me? Thank you. But I do offer condolences.
you have.
But I do offer condolences from all. I'd like to say that. And the life of a retiree is that his wife develops a honey-do list. She gets everything done that she could never get done in the past 20 years. So I brought some things for you to do the jobs that Margaret has got prepared for. Would you stand, sir? This is his painter's cap. Promotion for selling. Looks fantastic, don't you? All you need is a paintbrush. Now, while you're painting, you always want a cup of coffee, so your wife can bring you coffee in a special cup, strawberries. Now, Margaret, one of the things he needs to do first is to shave. So I've got us some Christian Dior aftershave lotion, okay? And he always likes snacks during the day. I've got him some cheddar cheese nuggets. And he loves these, so you got to go to him at 10:30 every day. Now, at 3:30, he likes ginger snaps. Now, anybody else would say, honey, I'm thirsty. Would you please either get me a Coke or a Pepsi? Not you. Margaret, you've got to give you wine. Wine with meals, okay? Back there. Now, to top off his meals, he loves dessert. I got him some buttermints. So you can combine with some buttermints. I would not let him quit working on his honeydews at 5 o'clock. I would make him work, and here's a flashlight. And make sure. Now, let me change, you're going to change your rack. All right. It's turned cold. Now it's winter. He's got a hat he's got to wear. Now this will keep a little ears warm. And I gave you a pair of socks to keep your feet warm. Okay? Now,
Hey, Hugh, can I buy that again?
this past summer, we were fortunate in having you stop by our credit union, which is located adjacent to the fire station. So we invited you to eat with us, and would you know we were having corned beef hash? Well, at our fire station, nobody gives the cook any credit. And it just so happened you decided you wanted to eat with us. We sat down and we were eating the corned beef hash. I thought it was delicious, until somebody said it tastes like Alpo. So that you can distinguish the difference. I got him a can of corned beef hash, and I got a can of Alpo. Now, last but not least, if Margaret is fortunate enough to get him to do any of these things, Margaret, I'm giving you a camera. Would you please take a picture and let us look at it? I've got one more thing I need to do. And this is a resolution. And I feel honored to be able to do this for you. It says, Hugh Wills, whereas Hugh Wills has served credit unions as an employee of the Virginia Credit Union League for over 27 years, and whereas in leading people to operate their own financial institutions, his dedication to the principles of cooperation and his personal sacrifices have underscored his sincerity and integrity, and whereas credit unions as instruments of human well-being are the beneficiaries of Hugh's high ideals and standard of conduct exemplified when he served as league field representative during his first 6 years of league employment. And whereas the greater measure of financial security gained by individual credit union members through his assistance as manager and select employee group representative of Virginia League Central Credit Union is evidence of his tireless and unselfish efforts. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors, committees, staff, and membership of the Virginia Credit Union League Incorporated, on the occasion of his retirement, hereby extend to you, our fellow employee and friend, deepest thanks and best wishes as he is now enjoys the proud satisfaction he has earned in his service to his fellow man. You, congratulations.
Thank you, Christie. I'll give you a chance just one more. Before I do, While retirement for the retiree is a major emotional time in his life, as employees, we also have considerable emotional feelings for our friend. And so speaking on behalf of our employees, Ms. Pat Stuffy, Manager of Virginia League Central Credit Union.
You all never knew all your footsteps. I do have one little presentation here to make before I go with our final presentation on the employees. A number of years ago, Bill started designing the employee service pen. This pen is word. This pen, as you know, is made up of a multiple colored stones relating to the number of years of service with the league. And each time we'd like to thank Bill for pioneering this fine symbol of league service. However, there is one area that Bill overlooked. Those glittering stones only reflect years of service to the league. He neglected to design a symbol for after-service proficiency. Therefore, we felt a need to go back to Bill to come up with an appropriate symbol for this occasion. And not only I, but all the employees feel that Bill has surpassed his original effort. So we would like to present you with the first after-service award. You don't have to get up.
Yeah, he needs to get up.
Stand up when she talks to you.
Would you get him to stand up, please?
Stand up. I do have to apologize to Shirley Chenault that this wasn't available when you retired.
Hey, we love that. You can have part and go hunt with me.
Thank you. On behalf of the entire staff, you have put in many dedicated years, and you deserve the opportunity of rest and relaxation. We hope that you'll find increasing pleasures and satisfaction in all your endeavors. So, to Hugh Wills, I am privileged to present, on behalf of the entire staff, this tangible evidence of our esteem and affection. And we'll hope you look upon this gift not as a compensating token of all you have done or all you mean to us, but simply as an acknowledgement of a debt we can never pay in full.
That's subtle. That's really subtle. What can I say but thanks? Oh, okay.
Are you going to open now or are you going to wait? You can wait. We got one or two more items. If I may, the president of League Central has always been comforted by Hugh's concern for economy and his conformity to discipline of operations. We can see visions from the past, and the president of Virginia League Central would say to Hugh, "Are you sure this contract's legal?" My magnifier will only pick up part of the signatures. Or he would say, "Hugh, when should we make these new interest rates effective?" And Hugh would say very calmly, Last month would be okay. I've already converted most of the accounts anyway. The president will miss these little things, I'm sure. Dale Webster, president of Virginia Lake Central Credit Union.
Hugh, I want you to know that we spent a considerable amount about September 4th trying to figure what would be appropriate to give you at the time of present. Some people suggested toilet paper. Some suggested car deodorizers. And of course, Herman wanted to give you some shorts. We are real pleased to find out that you were most interested in keeping the station wagon that you're currently driving. And you had indicated that you would like to purchase this upon your retirement.
22%.
The Lake Central Board felt that your years of dedication and service. Ask Stephanie, did that include the rack on top? I might add that we took in a car here recently, and it did have a luggage rack on top that would fit the wagon. Now, you did transfer it. I talked to Pat Stuffy yesterday, and she was relieved at the time, but within the last few days, Hugh lost the keys to the car. And he wanted this set of keys, but fortunately he found it. And I'm also told that the key to the gas cap tank is in you, Hugh, but you've lost the gas cap, so I don't know. But Hugh, we're real happy you passed our way, and we want you to continue to always be a part of our organization. And I'm just happy to have known you, and I look forward to seeing you through your retirement. It's a great deal of pleasure that I present you the keys to your wagon. We don't have to talk
Now it's Hugh's turn. Hugh, I haven't roasted you. I don't intend to. I do have one more presentation I'd like to make to you, but I'm going to wait until after you've had a chance to get at these folks who were so unkind, remembering all the time that I've been very nice. So if you will, Hugh, you asked for the opportunity to have a couple of comments and remarks. Let them have it, buddy.
All right, that's the way to go out. Flashing.
He looks like a Las Vegas deal.
This camera doesn't work, Hugh. Yes, Bill, I do have a couple words to say. And especially the people on the podium and the people who left the podium. You know, you can go to Help Alliance saying you can't steal. But I love you. I want to say, I have a little speech made up, and I want to be a little bit serious, a little bit frivolous, but I want to tie love into both of them. I do love all of you. And those of you who are newly on the staff and haven't known me long enough to love me, I'm still working on it. St. Paul told us about love. He told us, and he ended his famous passage by faith, hope, and charity, or faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. And so I do love. I love some of you who told tales on me. Bob Green didn't tell you, and he left it to me to tell you why I gave him his bid back. He attacked me. The next day, I thought I was going to have breast cancer. You know, I was hurting. And he didn't tell about the next. That Saturday, we rode the train all day, and no food, and the train was cold, and we finally got to the train station,
And we found out that we had to fly home the next day from Cincinnati, and the airport was in Kentucky. And it was about midnight before we got to the airport, and fortunately it was a little hotel like there. And I remember Gene was hungry, and we were all hungry. But we were all hungry and we were tired. And I'm just gonna get this straight now. Get my story straight. I'm gonna kind of rehearse this live before I tell it. But Gene was hungry, and he asked one of the young ladies, how could he get something? He was hungry and tired. And she said, well, there's a little restaurant over there, and you've always heard the story about oysters. You go there and get some oysters, and you'll revive yourself. So we went over to the restaurant, and asked her little waitress there at midnight if she could serve him some oysters. She said, I'm sorry, sir, but we don't have any oysters, so we've got some raw eggs. And Gene said, well, give me 6. So sure enough, he gave his raw eggs. Well, I had to hustle out of there early next morning to catch a flight, and the same little waitress was on duty. I guess she was on duty all night, but anyway. She asked him if he felt better, and he says, and with those raw eggs helping, he said, I don't believe that story about those raw eggs and all. She said, it didn't look too unworth. Seriously, Gene did on the 6 scrambled eggs, and I haven't forgotten that anybody would sit down and eat 6 scrambled eggs. That was a memorable trip that Bob and Gene and I had. I think my breast is all right. and really, truly, it was Charlie Harrington that gave me my reputation about driving. He told me I got my driving license at Sears Roebuck. And Carolyn Asheville, I love Carolyn and she loves me. She's always selected who I'm going to sleep with. You know, when you go to conventions, Carolyn's always lining up the field staff, who's going to sleep with whom, And Charlie Perkins gave me a room with Charlie Perkins one time. And gee whiz, I never saw anybody snore like Charlie. Nobody. All my experience of staying with so many people that Carolyn fixed me up with. Charlie snored. We had beds like this, and each side heads were together, you see. And the alarm clock was on a little square table at the head of each bed. One table head of each bed. And wake up the next morning, the alarm clock going off, and I reached over and grabbed it. Charlie reached over and smacked my hand, said, this is my damn alarm clock. Well, so help me, before the ding of the alarm clock had left the room, Charlie would hit me back on the pillow and he was snoring again. But Herman has a reputation of snoring too. And one time Carolyn fixed up Holy Snow and Herman and me, all 3 of us in the same room. And when Odie and I found out that we landed with Herman, been selected with Herman, Odie looked at me and I looked at him and I said, Odie, we're not going to get any sleep tonight. Odie said, no, all of a sudden liked him, I'll fix it. Don't worry about it, I'll fix it. So Herman came in and Odie grabbed him, kissed him right on the mouth, gave him a watery kiss. Well, I'll have to say he waited till we all ready to go to bed. And Odie got in bed, put his head on the pillow, and he started snoring, and he snored the whole night through. But Herman and I didn't get any sleep. Both of us stayed up and see what the whole Odie was going to do. And Bill Stark loves me too. He's the fellow who really put me down. I just can't get over what he said. And somebody mentioned the whole story, so I won't have to. Herman mentioned the whole story. I won't have to go. I don't have a belly button. And down below my belt, I've lost some organs down there. And Bill came up to me one day and said, Wills, he always called me Pat. He said, Wills, I don't trust, can't trust you anymore. What? We can't trust you anymore. Well, you've got to understand my physical condition. So I said, well, Bill, what in the world's wrong? And so he was one, it was Bill's my buddy. You can't trust a man. But But in all honesty, I've got to speak. In all honesty, these 27 years have been filled with a lot of fun, a lot of love. The chapter gave me a plaque too, just recently, and it said all those nice things, and it said, in recognition of your many years of Christian service and loyalty and friendship, so long be remembered. Well, I want to go back to St. Paul's passage. You can take faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love, and you can use your arithmetic. Let me digress just a moment. Once upon a time I went to National Business College, and we had to go to chapel every single Wednesday morning. And I didn't like it, but I had to go to chapel. And one time we had a Baptist preacher, and he told one nonsensical joke after the other, just like he'd been told you about. But then he wound up with something serious, and it's made an impact on me, and I haven't forgotten. And he said, in essence, if A is equal to C, and B is equal to C, then A and B are equal to each other. That's in, basic arithmetic. If God is love, and if Jesus is God, then Jesus is also love. And so if you can take that word and swap it around, and you read the famous passage of St. Paul and put in Jesus in place of love, then to me, the passage means a little different too. So back to the plaque that the chapter gave me. Your loyalty and friendship will long be remembered. And if we can take that word friendship and change it to loveship, then I will long cherish and remember your loveship to me, and hope that you will remember me in the same light. And thank you.
One last remark, and I saved it for myself, which I think is the speaker's prerogative. Someone once said, today is the tomorrow we dreamed about yesterday. Well, your tomorrow's here, Hugh, today. You and Margaret, entering the retirement years, we hope that you'll enjoy every minute of every day. We thank you for being our friend. May the good Lord bless and keep you both. For in fact, we love you both. The employees have signed a card. Those who were able to get up and sign the card, I want you to have that card signed by most of the employees in the office. All of the letters that I told you about and some I didn't tell you about are incorporated into this little volume called Memories for Hugh Wills. I hope that you'll find much pleasure in it. There's several photographs. There's some other things, including his last expense statement. Some things I'm sure you wouldn't have expected. Pictures of the staff. A collage of pictures that shows you with some pretty great men. And some of the very proud and some of the very foolish times that you had while you were with the League. I enjoyed just looking at this collage and seeing how many of these people I know. And I hope that you'll take the time to share it with you. It'll mean that much more to him. And to both of you, I think you'll have some warm evenings enjoying this little book of memories. And then, this book was prepared as all of us were watching the hilarity going on. Jim was taking pictures of all the things that happened tonight. And all of those pictures have been incorporated into this one little book of volume, which will help him to remember this very special night. And so, Hugh, that too will be coming from the employees. You had your say. They had their say. I hope you'll come by and have your say. And with that, good night. God bless you all.
Didn't make it. Tom's gonna keep it, I reckon.
Huh?
I reckon Tom's gonna keep it.
Well, you gonna give me my roll of film? One in each pocket. Well, the other one you can keep as a canister. You can keep it.
Well, how you doing? I'm not getting better. I haven't seen him in a while. How you doing? Thank you. Nice to see you.
Yeah. Oh, is he an elf?
I went to get my film. I never get to see him again. They sent the film in my buddy.
That's black and white. I mean, it's going to show the color. We had a color monitor to figure out how the color looks. That's the only problem we have. Is our boy for a weekend? Take care of it, boy. I've used one. Huh? I've used one. Hey, they are.
Hey, Paul? I know he can't drive us. Let's go. Oh, boy, hell no. I thought you had How much tape you having it?
2 hours.
Oh, I wonder how long that thing will run. Still running there? Yeah. Yeah, old Charlie's in there now. Yeah, I see Charlie's in there.
What's this guy from office name?
I don't know. All he want to do is I didn't know who it was. I still don't know who it was.
Don't matter.
Still running? Yep. You want to start scanning now. Pick up some of these conversations.
It gets stuffy after crazy.
See you smile, you on candid camera.
Yeah, there'll be choice. Oh, get that yawn real quick. Turn around. Get that yawn real quick.
Nice to meet you. Is that what the women vote for? It didn't have her.
We'll get on the road with this equipment. It's yours?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what we got here? I don't know who that is.
Oh, well, that's probably just as well.
She left you?
I was trying to find a,
Looking for? There you go, you showed that to her. He looking for her. Let's see, Fred.
well, when I was going on the stage, I thought I'd find something else.
Hey, yeah. Where is she? Where is she? Where is she?
Where is it? Hey, that's very, hey, that's good. That's right down good in the Christmas tree. Hey, run off. Oh, this is interesting. Looking good.
I'm gonna have to show him a thing or two. He'll learn.
Put it back on the stage, eh? There we go.